Well, hi everybody. This is Paul Feuerstein, editor-in-chief of Dentistry Today, and I do a lot of interviews with people, and they always say, "This is an old friend." This is a real old friend, a real old friend. Not old in age. We've been known each other for about 65, 70 years or so.
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that. This is Dr. John Flucke, if you don't know, from Kansas City. We're here to talk about tooth whitening and some changes that Philips has done. It's been around for a long time. There's been all sorts of different ways to do it, in office, out of office, custom trays and things. So John, tell us a little bit about this new product called Philips Sonicare Tooth Whitening Kit.
This is a great product that fills a real niche. We've got in-office whitening, we've got custom trays, take-home whitening, and people will go to a grocery store and buy some whitening product that doesn't really work. But what we finally got is we have a product that allows the patient to create semi-custom fabricated trays in their home and then lighten, but only under the advice and the sale of the material through a dental office. So you get good results, very low sensitivity, and you also get the fact that it is from your office so you can monitor it, and the patients get a great sense of concern and care and love because of the branding. They recognize the Philips Sonicare name brand. It carries a lot of weight with consumers, and it's a product that they'll recognize.
Because we've had Zoom, and do people know Zoom as well as they know the word Sonicare?
Yeah, I think people recognize the word Sonicare much more. Philips Sonicare has become a huge brand recognition. They're what everybody thinks of when they think of powered brushing in the industry. So now what we've got the ability for people to take that same brand recognition and apply it to a whitening product.
And I've heard the term you'll call grab and go in a
Right.
store, but we can do grab and go in our own offices now. There's no in-office work to do.
Correct. And it doesn't require impressions, which, as I like to say, nobody in dentistry wakes up and says, "Alginate today, this is a great day." So this eliminates that chair time. It is really I wouldn't necessarily call it a grab and go, but I'd call it give it to the patient, give them some explanation and go. So the amount of chair time and the inefficiency that comes with taking models, pouring models, taking a digital scan, printing a 3D model to then make the trays, all of that goes out the window.
So how do you make these trays?
The material is, it's right here. It's a thermoplastic material, which basically the patient goes home and they dip this in hot water. It gets soft. They put it in their mouth.
Push it around.
Yeah, they suck in and they push it around with their tongue and their fingers, and it adapts and creates as close to a custom tray as you can get and not have a custom tray.
And then you just shoot the stuff all over the place?
No, so it comes in a dual barrel mixing syringe. By the way, you don't have to refrigerate this, so it's great for people with thermal sensitivity. But each syringe has 3 treatments in it. One of the things I love is they have a little mark here, a little dot and a little tooth, and it shows how much material you need to put for each tooth. So you don't end up with it squished all over the place and burning of the tissues or whitening of the tissues because they know how to apply it correctly.
And that's part of the in-office discussion too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So you tell your patients about this and open the box and just show them what it comes with so they understand it, make sure they have no questions.
And there's an instructional video too.
Yes, absolutely. My wife used it, and my wife knows nothing about dentistry other than that's how we make the house payment. And I just let her have the kit. It wasn't even open.
But
we
wait
took
a minute.
it down to the kitchen.
Doesn't your wife have horribly sensitive teeth?
She does. She does have horribly sensitive
So how did
teeth.
this work?
This worked great. I always tell people, Peggy is the canary in the coal mine. People come into the office and are like, "Dr. Flucke, brand new product, no sensitivity." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sample." I go home, I'm like, "Put this in." And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And so I know that if my wife used this and she used the 6%, she did the 9 treatments, she got about 4 shades of lightning.
Wow.
And she had a tiny bit of sensitivity after the first application and none going forward. So what I love about that, and what I would tell to people watching this, is if she got through it and didn't have sensitivity, you can recommend it to your patients I routinely tell my patients, Peggy approved, because if she uses it without any sensitivity, I really don't anticipate anybody else having
So
it.
you noted that you use the 6%. Is there another version of it too?
6% and 9.5%.
Okay, and what's the differential there?
Just a little bit more higher percentage. It's the same material. It also contains potassium nitrate and amorphous calcium phosphate. So it has desensitizing agents built into the product, which is also nice because in the past, sometimes people have sensitivity from whitening. We'll give them a syringe of like, here's some potassium nitrate gel and put this in first.
Right.
And then you've got the whole thing of which syringe is which and which did I do and did I do this before, did I forget? And no more alternating, do this one day and then use the whitening the next day, then the desensitizer.
None of
Yeah,
that.
it's much easier.
So one of the things I noted, I read some of the research. I actually read the research.
Attaboy, Paul.
So the 6% gave us about a 4-shade difference. The 9.5 gives maybe a 5-shade difference, and they have clinical studies to show
Yes.
this. The beauty of Philips Sonicare is the clinical studies. This is clinically proven. The sensitivity studies, the whitening studies, all these things. That's what the branding is all about, and that's the key to this whole thing. So I have a kind of a weird question.
Sure.
I have some patients who are in a line of therapy, and they really aren't supposed to put any kind of bleaching material into the liners.
Right.
Can they use this? I have twofold question. Can they use this during treatment? And number two, if they have a custom tray for stage 1, what
Right.
about stage 15? Can they remodel the trays?
Yeah, one of the great things about the product is it does come with 4 trays. So you get a spare in case you lose one or somehow the dog gets a hold of it. We all know that happens for some reason. But I do a lot of clear aligner therapy in my practice. And one of the great things about this is you're talking to a patient about treatment and they say, I want my teeth straight and I really want to lighten my teeth too. How do we do that?
Yeah, we do it when they're all done, 2 years from now.
Exactly. So yeah, when we're all done getting them straight, then we'll whiten them and people are like, I got to wait 12 months, 24 months with these yellow chiclets. And what's great about this is because the material's thermoplastic, because you can heat it and reshape it if, you make a mistake when you're first molding it, or if the teeth move, they can dip this in hot water and then go in and reshape it in between each aligner. So you don't end up in the end, if somebody starts, whitening and then they go to orthodontics, you end up with these vertical, darker lines, which we all hate. This way, as the teeth move, they stay consistently white.
What do you see as a benefit to you in using this versus the Zoom?
So-
What's the real benefit?
The real benefit of this is it doesn't require chair time. And it also doesn't require a great deal of clinical expertise in the field, and especially in dentistry right now. Staff turnover is high. It's hard to find people. It's hard to keep people. And you may have a dental assistant, that's 10 years experience, and they can take an impression and they can make a custom tray, blindfolded. And then suddenly that person's no longer there and you've got somebody that has 2 days of experience and, you're like, okay, take the impressions, make the
There's
trays.
the bubbles.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you look at it later and you're like, ay caramba. So what's great about this is that like I said, I open the product with the patient and we go over it a little bit with them. But then I don't have to count on the quality control or the manufacturing in my office. It becomes open the box, give them a 5-minute discussion about, how it works and what to do, and they leave. And we don't have mess. We don't have impressions. We don't have, Mrs. Smith called and she wants to know where her custom trays are. It's been a month and somebody's pushed the models behind the lathe or something, and we're all like running around what happened to them? Where'd they go? Didn't somebody put it on the list?
Well, I think the beauty here is that it's also at a lower price point than some of the other products that are out there. And the patient has a chance to say, yeah, that's not a big deal, or maybe I can do that. And there's a trust thing here too, that we know with the research that this is going to work. So the patients build more trust in you too as a practitioner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really see that.
And that's the one thing I think too that goes with the Philips Sonicare brand name is that Philips it's a very large company and they have the financial wherewithal to do the research.
It's currently available.
Yes.
It's called the Philips Sonicare Tooth Whitening Kit. And you can get in touch with your representative. You can go onto the website, find out what it is, get the pricing. I'm sure there's price points if you buy 100 of them, and 15 of them, 20 of them, whatever it is. And branding, I mean, they're not going to tell you how much to charge your patients. That's up to you. And I think it's a great service, just a great service.
It's available in 6% and 9.5%. And the studies show with the 6%, after 9 treatments, patients on average are 4 shades lighter. And after treatment with the 9.5, they're 5 shades lighter with minimal sensitivity. It's Peggy approved.
John, thanks so much.
Always a pleasure, buddy.